welcome to the Glassmith pod. We're currently working on our new studio. Couple fucking wonderful artists. And so just bear with us. It's a work in progress. Week by week, you'll see how we move forward. Me and the team, we just got back from Las Vegas. All these guys are glass blowers. We went to Champs, which is I would say it's the biggest smoke shop trade show in the country, and it has all the smoke shop products like gummies, tinctures, vape, fucking anything you would find in a smoke shop was there. It's considered, I guess I already said, it's considered the biggest trade show in the country. Now let me go ahead and introduce these guys. To my right is Kurt. Kurt. Oh yeah, go ahead and tell me something about yourself, Kurt.
All right, Kurt Chew Glass on Instagram. I've been working for Billy for a year and a half now. And Champs was pretty sick.
Like when you say you've been working for a year and a half, like how much time in glassblowing do you think you actually got?
Like hours?
Yeah, sure, go for
it. I would guess probably like on average 10 to 20 hours a week, and so that times whatever that times like 70 is.
What do you think
I don't know.
What do you think sparked your interest?
For me, it was as soon as I realized that there was a glass scene. So like once I started smoking weed, I was like, oh, there's all these pipes, right? And I didn't realize that there's just like stoners everywhere blowing glass. And so I found this local studio, American Glass Roots, up in Arlington. And like there was a bunch of local artists working. One of them was Milton Townsend. And like it was really cool to get to watch. Took a class, and then when I moved down here, I needed somewhere to blow glass. And Billy was nice enough to teach me.
Man, it's been a fucking true pleasure. Either of you guys have a question about Kurt's young glassblowing career?
Aside from getting into the pipe scene, do you have any other dreams or aspirations for your glass career, or any projections that you see it going towards?
I had the same question.
It's convenient that you had the same question as him, so you don't have to ask your own.
Let's go.
I don't know. For me, I think that like at first it was like I saw the pipes and everything, like pipes, bongs, everything. And I was like, wow, it's really cool. Like Zebra Heads up in Louisville has like a whole heady room, and so it wasn't just China. It was getting to see all of these like lace face and pouch glass and. But really, it's one of the coolest things for me is looking at like marbles. Like you look at a marble and you get to like turn it, and you see like with the one that you have with the gold fume in it, you get all these different colors throughout it. We'll show this later. We'll get a little promo shot of it. But like you get all sorts of colors, and like as you turn the marble, you get so much different like dimensions and stuff throughout it, and you don't get that with any other type of art. Yeah. And so I think that's for me one of the coolest parts is like it's like incredibly different than any other kind of art, including like I haven't done clay work, but like clay work doesn't have magnification and and like it doesn't have the same depth.
Kurt, one more question. What are you working on currently? Like what's your like current what's the current project in your glass career?
Right now we're working on kind of like a heady spoon line, and so it's a spoon body of the spoon is like whatever it is that the artist is making, and then I'm wanting to do right now the honeycombs. And then like wigwag top, honeycomb top, like really cool nib on the side with either like flower, twisty ball, whatever. But really, I think my hope right now is to really get a line of spoons going.
Hell yeah. Very, very cool. To my far left is Quen.
What's up, y'all? My name's Quen. I go by 50 Glass on Instagram. I've been working with Billy now again for about 6 months, but met a few years back and had the opportunity to get behind the torch, and it was a captivating experience for me. It was a really, really cool thing, and developing more on that now has been a wild journey.
I guess I'll ask the same kind of questions, like as far as like say hours, weeks, months, years, like what do you think your torch experience is?
I would say right now I'm sitting somewhere probably around 4 or 5 months of time behind the torch. When I say that, that's broken down into, like Kurt was doing, maybe 10 hours or so a week with the flame, and over about 16 weeks or so. So it's hard to say. You've
overall been hanging really tight with the whole world, right? Like the glass world, like as far as your knowledge and like what techniques and artists and such.
Yeah. When we first met, that was kind of my intro to the pipe industry. Glass is one of those things that has captivated me since I was a kid. To elaborate more on what Kurt was saying, it as a medium and what it's able to do with light, its ability to take and refract or bend light in these ways and provide optics is such a cool art form. And like you said, with clay or other things, like you don't get that ability, and this depth and dimension that comes out of it is really, really fascinating. So to have a little bit of an experience behind the torch back when we first met, and then to take some time away, about 3 years, and just be completely submersed in the American glass scene was incredible. I felt like I obtained a wealth of knowledge about the medium itself, just learning colors, learning patterns, and all of these different techniques. And I've spent a lot of time just sitting, watching Corning videos and other things, trying to absorb as much knowledge as I can about it.
Man, I gotta say, I can tell. Like, it's like just looking at him like, this guy, he's just been doing a little bit. You guys have any questions about Quen's young glass career?
What are your aspirations going on into the future?
That's a really tough one for me. Looking at glass, there's an entire world of opportunity there, and it seems like the barrier for glass as far as what it can do and where its boundary is drawn, it's ever expanding. And so to be able to be a part of that exploration and kind of let it take me wherever, that's what I'm most excited for, is just the journey itself, to see what this does for me.
Doesn't feel like there's a barrier there.
Yeah.
That can be broken.
Yeah.
What about right now, though? So, like, right now you're working on implosions. You just did your first vac stack? Or, back stack.
Yeah, I did a tube pull, my first vac stack the other day. That was really awesome. My good friend Jay has been showing me some techniques and helping me out.
You guys come up with the idea together?
Yeah. It was a 50 mil tube with a 25 inside, and then
nice.
like 6 mil color rods stacked around, and then we pulled stringers and put the stringers in between.
On the 50 mil?
I think so.
Amazing.
Yeah.
It's a fun technique.
But as far as what I'm working on, there's a lot of variables in glass blowing. When it comes to the torch itself, you have propane and oxygen fueling this thing, and the balance of that and how that works with colors or other things within glass, like the thickness or hollow work. I'm really trying to understand the flame chemistry and what it's doing to the glass right now, and exploring a lot of these techniques like the implosions and fume work have been a lot of fun. So there's really no limit to like what I'm willing to try. It's all something very new, so it's super exciting.
Fucking A, that's what's up. To my direct left is Nate. Nate, let's give you the same treatment. Give us a little quick intro.
I'm a glass-based art originally. Now I'm going by Osama bin Laden Pipe, but we're trying to figure all that out. I've been working with glass since I was 17, so about 10 years now. I've really loved glass early on into my early ages. Like when I was 15, I remember going to a festival, and this guy was blowing glass, and he made this pipe, and he gave me didymiums, and he was like, hey, watch what I'm doing. And I watched him. He made this pipe. He gave it to me, and I was instantly hooked. And then I saw the documentary Degenerate Art made by Slinger when I was about 17, and I instantly knew that I wanted to pursue glass further on, because everything in glass is there's always a new level and always more learning that you can be doing with glass, and I really enjoyed that fact.
That movie was a real eye opener for me. Well, like watching it when it came out, like it came. You watched it in the theater here when it came out with the film festival.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, it was like this whole experience, like around the Austin Film Festival, was the shit.
Yeah.
What are you currently working on? What are your projects? What are you thinking
Right
about?
now, it's all over the board, because ever since I started blowing glass, the only thing that I ever wanted to do was make something like a new technique. Every single time I figured out a new technique, and I tried it once or twice, I went on to the next one. And I just kept progressing in, just trying to learn new things in the glass world and meet new people and trying to make a community that I would be proud of to be a part of.
Let me take a step back. So you got into it, you got the spark when you were 15, you watched this movie when you were 17. Mm-hmm. How long have you been blowing glass now?
I mean, if you really look at it in, as in time, like maybe 7 years, because I took a hiatus for about a few years after COVID.
Hell yeah. Fucking A.
You know?
Dude, it's fucking, it's hard to keep it's such a grind, and everything is so big. Like you have to have the space, and I know it's hard to stay at it all the time.
Yeah.
How long have you been on the torch, sir?
Yeah.
Oh, me?
You.
The first statement, I want to know.
No, 2000. I guess what? It's probably 12 years now.
12.
But I'd say 2 years, like in and out of not doing it all the time. But I would say, like, as far as glassblowing goes, is like I'm not overall the most creative type. So like a lot of my time has been in repetition and just like doing similar things again and again, really knocking stuff out. So I don't like, as far as like the overall experience of like an experimental glassblower, I would say very little amount of time. As far as being like an overall glass worker, a really, really long time. So 2012, I bet.
Yeah.
So now, no, yeah, 23,
12.
2012, 2011, something like that. Any other questions, guys?
No questions.
That's what I can
other
think
than,
of right now.
Do we have any
When did you-
rolling papers?
When did you like really try to move into the next step when you were in your like food truck? Like when you're in your smoke shop truck, when was the next step where you thought you need to like take that next like level up?
Man, I was always trying, but it took me so long to figure out how to expand on business, like how to buy and sell products that people like. Like I think being a glass blower held me back a little bit in being an overall retailer because of the ideas, like the ideas behind what the glass industry is. So if you buy into like, I'm an American glass blower, I make American shit, I don't fuck with that fucking non-American shit. When you open a smoke shop, you have a lot of those same attitudes. Luckily for me, in the meantime, since I flipped over on this attitude to start making, I would say, slightly more money by selling some, like, essentially being able to sell a $40 bong, then I've now been blessed with all these subsequent products that have helped me. But I would say that wasn't, like, not due to my, like, it wasn't due to my glass blowing expertise. It was just due to breaking, overall breaking down in the idea that I needed to make more money somehow. So which was the way to do it, right? And the other, like the higher end way looked a little bit harder. So I think like there's been a few things that really helped me along where I don't know how much of it's actually my fault. I think one of the smartest things I've done is being a glass blower with the smoke shop, so that there's some reputability behind what we're doing. No matter what we're selling, the reputability of being a glass blower goes a long, long way.
Yeah, the Glassmith is definitely a unique entity. There's not many places left. I feel like you can go out, buy a pipe, and then turn around and actually look at the person that's sitting there making it, or have that person sitting there selling it to you. And I
remember the first time that I ever like found a billy pipe. I think I was like 19, and I was in Houston. My friend was like, "Yeah, this is Bildo. You got to go check him out. He's over on West Campus." And I was like, "Okay." And so I think like that next week I went and met you for my first time, and I just tried to gain a relationship and some kind of camaraderie, between us.
Fucking A, known each other a long time.
Yeah,
as with all you guys. As with all you guys.
Yeah. Good.
Anyway, let's get to our experience at Champs. This week's probably is sponsored by The Classic, the finest THCA in all of Austin. Usually coming out with probably between a month or two of harvest at all times. It's always fresh, always clean. Personally, it's all I smoke. And now, back to the podcast. All right, y'all. So basically, first I want to start by asking you, Kurt, what you overall thought about the American glass section of this trade show.
So like overall, it was really small. So Glass Vegas was all American glass. I don't think that there was any China, maybe a small amount of China. This was, I would have said about an eighth, but I think that you're right. It's probably about 16th, if that, glass blowing. There was glass games, there were booths of American glass blowers, and then you could watch a handful blow glass while they weren't competing. Aside from that, it was all gummies or mushrooms, vapes. So in terms of like the glassblowing scene there, it was pretty weak. But I also think that's what this is. Like I don't think this is a glassblowers event. There's a section for glassblowers.
So kind of what you're saying is it felt like a big ass industry trade show that they tried to slap a little bit of glassblowing in the middle of.
Yeah, and they did a really good job of it. I think the Glass Games is way sicker than anything I saw in Vegas for Glass Vegas. Just because it's like you get to go, you're watching these really, really sick people blow glass, all of which have like a lot of followers, and it kind of seems weird, but all of them are like hippies and like love talking to everyone about their glass. And they have, almost all of them have something to share. Like whether they're working on something and they're going to explain their tech, or they're just going to talk, they're going to be working, they're going to talk about like the glass industry. And like all of them, like we talked to Pyro pre-show one day, and he had a ton to tell us about his work, and it was all like super duper useful information in terms of like sleeving things in clear and how much he's able to stretch his glass with that, and then also just like asking us about what we're working on, like and like wanting to know that. So it's both a trade show for the glassblower, but like only kind of, and it's really a trade show for the companies.
Quen, you felt that way also? Like basically like
yeah,
overall vibe?
I think Kurt kind of hit it on the head there. It's definitely a shop show. When it comes to the idea of like going out for American glass specifically, like shopping for that, I wouldn't say that there's a huge market. There's definitely some really amazing artists out there and some really beautiful glass. There are a few tables that I walked past, American artists that had prices that I was just like, this is incredible. Like, I cannot believe how affordable some of this work is, looking at the quality of it and knowing, I'm sitting here talking to the artist and understanding how many years they have invested and things like that. So it was a cool experience to get to see and interact with so many of these glassblowers in a studio-like setting. Getting to see the equipment that they brought out, all their torches, foot pedals, and hand torches and tools, like it's a whole like repertoire of things that they have to use on this material. And going back to what we were talking about earlier, glass being this variable medium, watching so many different approaches of even similar techniques was really, really cool. And to be able to spend some time talking to some of those artists about everything that they're doing and their processes, and having so many of them take that time and actually interact back with us. It was, for me, I had some fangirl moments, and definitely a cool experience, but overall small. I haven't had an opportunity to get out to a Glass Vegas show, so I don't know the vastness of the American glass connection there.
I love the fangirl moments though.
Yeah.
I used to have those.
Who'd you see
so
out
much
there,
fun.
Nate? Like who were you when you were out in the booth?
So when I went out there, there was a few people that I never would expect to see. Like when I was finishing my competitor piece, I was like flattening it, and I was making sure everything was done, and this guy came up, Jerome Baker, and he said, "Land the mothership," and that was such a surreal moment for me, where I was just
and that
shaking.
was when you were competing?
Yeah, that's when I was competing, and like he said that, and I was just like, man, I'd never even expected to even meet this guy. Like him saying that, and the first interaction I've ever had with him was like so surreal, and just made my heart feel crazy. Like just understanding that there's people that I've always respected in the industry sitting there and telling me motivational things while I'm finishing the piece for the competition.
Hell yeah!
And for the people watching, who's Jerome Baker? Because like
Jerome Baker is a old school glass artist that used to make pipes all over the country. The biggest American distributor of glass pipes for a long time. Then he got indicted by the federal government for a little bit, and that's like such an inspirational thing to me.
What that was coming out of your competition. Tell me about who when you're walking amongst the glass booths, who had the most impressive work out there?
Most impressive, that's hard to say.
Or tell me some of the
I'd
impressive.
say
Some of the impressive
Carson Glass has been one of the most inspirational people to ever set foot inside of my life that I've ever met. and like him explaining all the things that he did from the standpoint of where he was in degenerate art and like going on forward. He was talking about teaching people that I never even knew that would be taught by him, like Lacey when she was a little kid.
Oh,
and now
shit,
she's
like the old
Laceface
schoolers and shit.
Yeah, Laceface is now an adult. Like, she taught all the people that taught her. He also taught his brother, Darby. If you didn't know, Darby and Carson are brothers.
Oh, shit.
I had no idea.
Huh.
Yeah, that was a really interesting fact that I never knew. Also, Golden Gate, where we get all of our line tubing from.
Yeah.
He was also indicted by the federal government
Oh,
during
shit.
operational pipe dreams. Yeah, and one inspirational thing that he said during the event was, well, if I can't make people pipes, then I'm going to make people, stuff that people can make pipes out of. And
oh, shit. Yeah, so you can keep going no matter what.
Yeah,
Like,
no matter
even
what.
if pipes get shut down, you could still got this medium for doing some art.
And that was wild.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Quinn, what was your who was your favorite artist like to check out either in the glass game, like in the glass blowing, or if you even look further, like in the booths, like in people selling their wares. Like, what'd you like out there?
It's hard to say. Getting to watch Habitat crank out some micro stuff was really, really cool. But I had the opportunity to talk to Scolari for a good while and sit there and watch him work on a mini Lytton lathe. And to have this like micro setup and to try and start understand the concepts of what lathe work is, it was really cool to watch somebody sit there and do it on such a small scale. And aside from him, I also had a chance to talk to Sarita. She had a piece out there. It was a collaboration.
I love that work.
The Sarita and Laceface piece, and it was absolutely incredible. It was these.
If I can ask, what was that piece?
It was like a bowl-style vase, and then there were multiple flowers coming up out of the center of it, and these stems that came up, and one of the stems was like an arched top where the mouthpiece was, and then the bowl was, of course, a flower blooming, and that was a removable slide.
That's so
I think it was like a little 14 mil. And she gave me 20, 30 minutes of her time sitting there having conversations about the piece and their process, and it's just incredible to have that experience with some of these artists that have been.
It's such a nice feeling when you get to ask them these questions and they get to like deliberately give you all the answers that you never thought you would get.
Yeah, totally.
For sure.
That was one of your really big fangirl moments. Like 100%. You were geeking whenever we were talking about
100%.
I remember my old fangirl moments back in the day when I was like, I think I was like 20, and I was over at St. Elmo's Far for the first Armadillo, and like Salt, Snick, and all of them were throwing it down, and like I couldn't even ask those questions.
Yeah.
Like the fangirl moment was so intense for me that my heart was racing too much where I couldn't ask those questions.
Kurt, you had any experiences out there, or any artist experiences? Some shit that really stuck out to you.
So for me, the struggle is that like I'm not great at names. I don't like I probably talked to a lot of people that were way more popular than I thought. Shubba. So talking to him, but then honestly cooler than talking to him was talking to his wife. She was like 2 over, and she was working on this like mini recycler. She was saying usually it's like, I wish I remember the exact times, but it's like an 8 to 10 hour build for her full ones. Yeah. She had to do this mini one in 3 hours.
Damn.
And she was sitting there, she had her Bunsen, and she was working, and then she'd go and she'd stick like little dots on and blow out instead of working with tubing because it was so small. But talking to her and watching her do that was really cool. But probably the cooler one was that I got to follow him around, and he. Like, probably because you worked where you worked at Cosmic, but like you knew there wasn't like an artist I felt like we walked by that not only did not know who they were, he probably knew like the state they were from, how long they've been blowing glass, and he wanted to go up and talk to them. And so I got to go around being kind of shy and like listen to them talk about all their stuff. So like Windstar we talked to for like 20-30 minutes.
Yeah.
And like almost right out the gate, which kind of like shocked me, was like I don't remember what exactly it was. She was gonna DM us something for like something you were working on.
What kind of conversations did you have with Windstar? Because I would like.
He would remember more.
I can't even remember. Yeah, it was such a shock almost.
Yeah. But we were talking about her. She was doing that proto line. It was like $200 little tubes with like her artwork on the side, on the mouthpiece.
The light table.
The light
She
table.
had a bunch of her stained glass style pieces sitting on top of a light table, and the way that the light was coming through, again, like this art form that can take and just make light shine, like it was doing such beautiful things for the work. And she was like, oh yeah, she's like, let me know and I'll send you the link for the table or whatever if you want to use it.
And then the other thing, I don't know if y'all saw, but she did the yin and yang challenge. And like I saw it for the first time this
She did the yin and yang challenge.
So she had a yin and yang on the side of it. She had a girl like drawn on the side, and she did a little yin and yang pendant.
I didn't see it.
I've been thinking about it all morning. Like, I have no idea how she did it. I think I sent her a message about it. Like I was like, I've been thinking about like, if you don't want to spill the beans, don't spill the beans. But I assume she drew it because that's what she does for everything. But
it's honestly wild that my friend Smitty won first place in that category.
Oh yeah.
Like honestly, there were so many
off, right?
yin yang works, like pieces of art that I was just like, oh, he'll get third, fourth. No, he won first.
Oh yeah.
He got third last time for his beetle, but he made the same. He made a beetle, but yin and yang, and like I knew it was gonna come out on top, but I didn't know he was gonna come out on top. Like I'm so happy of Smitty for getting that done.
How do you feel about the whole competition format? Like, what do you
The
like,
whole
what do you
competition
think of,
format-
like it's the foundation of Champs.
So-
It's like where Champs started on. Is this kind of glass? Like when the glass game was the only game in smoke shops, Champs. That's where Champs started.
I think
and what their niche was the glass games. There were some other comers and goers, but they're the ones that stuck. So like, they're like, what do you think about their format? What do you think about the games?
I think that the judging, like I'd have to like see a lot more to like really give you an actual like honest answer, because right now I don't know, because the judges they were so quick on like judging it, and I think that they're looking at it from a standpoint of like trying to get techniques and also just like the whole idea of what they're actually making in the category that they're making, to like be a full conceited, I'm gonna like judge this way.
Yeah.
So like with Smitty, he made a piece that's, hard. It's also going into the point of yin and yang, like he's 50-50ing the whole piece on perfectly in that category. There was other people that made, in my opinion, better pieces, but they didn't get that artistic value out of the judges' favor.
Did he like? I don't know the work very good. Did he make what like did what he normally makes was in line with the union piece that he made?
Exactly.
So it's like something he did like so like
He
what like kind of
normally
what we were
does.
talking about is like which way to go when you enter a competition. Like go hard off like I'm gonna do something crazy because like I'm gonna win it this way.
He
or
actually
do something
didn't go do
consistent
something
that's consistent
crazy.
as well.
He did something that was
kept it
consistent, and also that he's already won a position in the competition before in past years with the same thing. So he's doing the same thing, but just trying to like get that yin and yang competition down to a point on an artistic view. So, half of his piece was on the body was black and white, and then he would switch up black and white on the black and white with the legs. So, like the whole piece was actually well thought out.
That's the shit. Kurt, what kind of opinions did you have about the like overall like what was a good thing? Like what did you think was great about the competitions? I know you entered one.
Yeah, so we did the 20-minute challenge, which was really cool to enter last minute. We got to use, like, they had tools for us. I think I used your glasses.
You guys had a hard challenge.
Well, so it was animal, and I don't think either of us are scultural people.
You guys had farm animal.
Farm animal, yeah. I made a penguin, which are found in...
Definitely a
penguin.
penguin.
So, the meant to be chicken, that was a penguin. But, like, the farms of Antarctica.
There you go.
But, like, from a competition standpoint, like, that was really cool because... Like they had little bags, and they just gave you like a little rod of color, and then some clear, and then the topic, and like to spend 20 minutes
with 3 tools.
3 tools. None of which were tools that I like.
Had you?
Yeah,
really?
would have brought way different tools.
What did you use?
I think it was tweezers that were like you'd square
Regular
little squares, like little square like.
My master tweezers.
And then I had a reamer, and I think I had regular tweezers.
Yeah.
Like that was really cool because it's the ultimate of the artistic part. Like you have to be artistic enough to be able to sculpt, You have to be artistic, or you have to be creative enough to come up with an idea you can actually make in that amount of time. And then like, so like we watched Windstar do it, and like they had fruits was their like I think it was or food.
They had food,
and she made hers almost entirely out of clear, because like if you can't use the color, you can't use the color. But that's not a thing. Like I would have thought, like, oh, how am I going to use this color? Like I got to figure out, like, what am I going to make out of this color?
That's originally what I thought too. It's
yeah.
Like, go for the color.
Yeah. Like,
go.
Like whenever y'all got things on fire.
Things on fire, in my opinion, I did not do a good job just because I did not know that my dichro piece was hollow. I had no idea. It was 6 millimeters.
Dichro tubing.
That's
It was 6 millimeters.
No,
and
we had rods of color.
I got a chunk of antidote.
What did you try to make?
Or no, I'm sorry, Roswell. So with the Roswell, I was like, oh, go in for the color, right? And I had the same idea as Kurt. I was like, well, I guess I got to sculpt something like farm animal. What the hell else do you do? Like, how do I do that in glass?
Make grass, and then you make a little clear farm of it.
Yeah, sitting on top. Well, I was like, caterpillar. You can't go to a farm and not find a caterpillar somewhere, right? So like, I'm trying to get this national, and that's the thing. Everybody's on a national, and so it's an even playing field. Like the brown bag hiding all your material till right before, like it's as even as it can get, except for I guess your experience in all of the different techniques. And so we both default to sculpting, and I'm starting to try to melt this Roswell down to get a caterpillar body, and I just can't get this torch to cooperate. And feeling like I was on stage, I was nervous as hell.
Yeah.
And so I'm like sitting there, like, all right, just breathe. Like, don't get the shakes. It's all good. Like, just relax. And it wasn't cooperating, and it finally like popped on me, and I was like, I'm not gonna like heal this. And so I just took it and stuck it in the water, and a piece of it popped out and landed underneath Kurt's torch, and I jumped back into the clear, and I was like, I'm just gonna start sculpting, and I'm gonna start putting globs on a glob, and it's gonna melt in together, and it'll be the fluff of a sheep. And then I can pull some legs off of it, and like pulled the head down, threw some ears on, and none of which was like welded on. It was all like cold steel, almost like everywhere. And
I can see the difficulty.
The head and neck was all intact because that was just a piece that I had pulled out of the body. And so at the last minute, I look over and I'm like, oh, the green is still there at Kurt's torch. And I reach over and grab it, and I pick up my clear rod, melt it a little bit, pick up the piece of green and string it across the front of the sheep's mouth. So it was just a blade of grass that my caterpillar died on.
Okay. Nate, you said you were talking about the yin and yang. What overall was your favorite competition? Like what, like out of all the competitions that they do, which did you like the best?
Obviously, I like the duos, because duos, you get two people, they're going to come together and they're going to make something that's going to be profound. And that piece is going to get them into champs, like the champion round, where they all can really throw down and like make something that's going to be like, remembered for a long time.
Okay.
And in the duos, there's pieces that were always going to be remembered. Like the piece that I saw Hendy and Hickdog working on, I remember seeing him start it, and I was just immediately drawn to what they were like putting together as a whole. I mean, a Buddha Hunter S. Thompson sitting behind the Las Vegas sign on top of poker chips and playing cards. I mean,
fucking A.
That's a crazy concept that they made it work.
Either you guys had a favorite competition or favorite thing about the competitions?
I liked the buddies a lot. Yeah, the 20-minute was
both
probably
y'all like
my
that
favorite.
I think we should integrate.
20 minute is the by far the most interesting of the challenges.
Yeah.
Like all the other ones, like if you're doing Roy G. Biv, like you can plan that, or Roy G. Biv, Yin and Yang. I don't know how buddies was set up. I don't know if they had like a topic.
6 hour, no topic.
So like all of those things, like you can, if you know you're going to champs,
you
can plan that. Like you made it sound like they do Yin and Yang every year.
Exactly.
Like we could right now start
thinking about a Yin and Yang.
In exactly how we do it. We can start practicing making it over and over, so we can make it like we can take this like 10-hour build, take it down to 7 hours or 6 hours, whatever it is. Whereas the 20-minute challenge, like you can sit there and I can like ask ChatGPT, like give me a topic, and I can as quick as I can like try to come up with a topic, and then just do that over and over again and try to get better at that. But like if like if the topic's farm animals and I've been preparing all these things and none of them were a farm animal, like fuck.
Yeah.
Like,
So like, I have a good question. Is next time we go to Champs, what can we do better to represent the Glassmith than ourselves?
oh, all of us should have Glassmith t-shirts. Without a
Oh, I
doubt.
like
That's
that.
the first one.
That's why I had
Like-
my Glassmith t-shirt on because I was the only one like fucking repping that.
Hey,
I like that.
Hey.
I like that. All right, so
maybe Billy
I-
got us hats and
I
sweatpants.
like the
shit. There you
line.
go. Yeah, we need
I
some
was
hats.
thinking we need I know you guys weren't up there blowing glass, but essentially we need signage. Like one of the problems I saw with all the glass
Yep.
blowing booths is like the glass blowers just don't represent themselves like a company. So like
Yeah.
you essentially have this huge ass sea of fucking corporate takeover happening, and then you have all these glass blowers doing this shit.
We
like
don't
it's
even have a fucking
1996.
Card table with a
So we
blanket.
don't have like we're trying to set up sophisticated shit. We can just get all this shit, get all of it set up, fucking shipped up there or check bag up there and fucking set up a badass booth.
Yeah.
We could also make sure we hold down a spot the whole time. Like some of those guys, like Shovel was in that one corner the entire
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
So like we could have a glass blowing spot for the entirety of it, as well as a booth space next to it.
We can all like
so that
switch
as far
out
as the
too.
glass blowing is going consistent, and like I like the t-shirts, but I think that like I'm cool with the t-shirts. I also like the
I think we should
I like
represent-
going hard at our spots.
Well, and that's one thing I think. I don't know this for sure. I don't think I saw anyone go to your spot after you left. Like I think you could have just left your torch there and just got.
No, I could have kept blowing glass. They
Yeah.
actually wanted me to do more competitions, but I didn't prepare for that.
Yeah,
I didn't have the
glass.
glass for it, you know, and all that. Like I could have went and bought glass, but like, you know.
It might be
In
a
the
good
moment.
idea. I know Denver's coming up pretty quick, but it might be a good idea to look into like
How quick?
one of the ones coming up. I think mid in September.
Oh wow,
But it's to
that's
see
quick.
what it's like to go up with both of those booths. You know what I mean? So we do the two booths inside with some glass that we made and with some shit. Maybe we do orders or not even do orders. Let it be cash and carry. It's a more regional show, probably smaller. We might have a greater opportunity rather than the Vegas, which is the biggest one.
What if the
Maybe
booths are the same price?
Shit, I'm saying like when I think about how much the trip was, and you probably only 25% more to stay to have a booth, right?
Yeah.
So like you spend the plane tickets, you get the hotel, and then if you had a booth, the booth is
You're making
$1,000. Like you say, you're blowing glass for free.
Yeah.
They like want you to be there blowing glass. So like why? Like shit, I don't know. Seems
But
like
also, if you have a booth, you're making money.
Seems like
Sure.
seems like a great idea to me. I overall felt kind of the same way as you guys did. Like the show felt squeezed to me. It seemed like this little tiny thing that they're trying to hold on to. I wouldn't say like I really love the competition thing, and I love what you guys were talking about the overall vibe of how like it's almost fortunate for the glass lover that this thing is being squeezed out because nobody gave a fuck about
Yeah.
these American glass blowers. It
Wasn't
was like,
crowded at all.
so when you pay them the attention when you're having these conversations, they had plenty of time. It wasn't like Las Vegas where when we go to Las Vegas, this is a sea of motherfuckers that are all like known each other or trying to take up each other's time. There's just too many of us. Where here, this group was really, really limited in how many of there were. Like just like
In my opinion, this is like the least competitive. Seeing that.
Well, the local ones might be more, except that it's harder to get glass blowers there. Like Vegas has that whole LA, that whole West Coast is used to doing this. Tucson represents so hard at shit like that.
Mm-hmm.
Sales are hard down there.
But Denver's
The
the
thing
same.
I thought that they could really do to improve is make so like they're using the glass blowers to show off. And like when you were talking about like my favorite shit is the champs, like the champs shit, like the who won the last events and who was going on to the Masters or like last year's Masters. But to me it looked like it was on a table about twice this big and they only had like 6 to 8 pieces. I would think that Champs would have this fucking museum, like big ass fucking display of all the past winners,
Right.
of sick ass museum style pieces, so that they can kind of walk people through the history on their way. Like if they want to keep selling it, like maybe like start selling it in another way too, like a roving museum of glass. Like I understand why they don't. Like it's surprising that the glass got as much space as it did. Like it looked like they probably rented out one floor and then had to do a whole nother floor.
Yeah. If you look at it from another perspective, a lot of these glass artists aren't like doing showy stuff. Like all these people who have these companies that are even like a vape that you've never heard of, they got everything. They got advertisements out the wazoo.
They got
What
Dennis
if one of
Rodman.
those glass artists had that advertisements out the wazoo, and maybe those smoke shop owners that want to come up and see what's going on? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Maybe that is an aspect, but it could be very highly unlikely that it could change
Well, they
anything.
could be teaching. They could be trying to help teach these new shops.
Yeah.
And so instead of the people like, I guess more like myself, who are going to this show more to see the other shit. Like I did my best to check out all the glass, but in reality, I was there to check out the whole show. You guys, give me 1 second. Let me light this joint,
So,
and
you guys
then
come here often?
First time.
we're gonna talk about the overall show, like what you guys liked in the intro. Give me just 1 second. This episode is sponsored by Austin Wholesale Supply. Located in North Austin, it's the #1 place to get all your smoke merchandise. From vapes to gummies to THCA to water pipes, #1 in the whole area. Give them a visit. Thank you very much. Now back to our podcast. Okay, so overall, the show, like, aside from the glass part, I think was like, I guess one of the negatives I would say about it was how, like, maybe I'd call it Californicized, like Los Angeles.
I mean, it was sexualized.
Like, there were just girls everywhere. Like, I couldn't, like, no matter where I looked, it was like I didn't know how to avoid talking to a girl in a bikini. Like, it was almost like, it almost made me uncomfortable. Quinn, on some show notes in the negative light, what would you give?
It was definitely a lot more intense than I imagined. Marketing and colors can only go so far when it comes to what companies can use, and you see a lot of these vape companies and like adult novelty companies using these really bright, like almost candy colored stuff that looks like it's being advertised to a kind of young crowd. And like you said, all the girls walking around in their bikinis was definitely an interesting experience. Like, that's not hard to ignore, but the dudes like chasing that around that were almost like lingery, like greasy, like, oh come on guy, like she's just out here working, like she doesn't want that, like,
Yeah.
Off that topic,
back down.
they didn't really like have any information for someone that actually is gonna
Like,
buy anything.
someone who's asking questions.
They just didn't like have anything that someone who's actually gonna like participate in their business is gonna like. They're just offering nothing.
It's just show.
So it's
Just like
like who's the next person that I can talk to that's not you?
Well,
If I really am interested in their business.
The even bigger problem is, like, they used, like, there were a couple companies that it felt, more than a couple, there were a lot of companies that felt like they forgot that they were one of the companies.
Yeah.
Like, you're walking by, and this girl
true.
starts to talk to you, and then she tries to get this other person to talk to you, but that other person that actually works for the company not only doesn't know anything about the product, but also is, like, either, like, faded out, or, like, really they're just trying to sit there and drink water and eat Doritos. Like,
And they
there was
don't even
no-
know the next person to even talk to
Yes.
to like try to get
And-
real information out.
It could have been
even
burnout.
Puffco. No,
I think we had this
even
experience as
Puffco.
well.
We went up to the
Puffco
Puffco booth.
It was rough.
And we were talking to this person who I think worked for Puffco.
It was
And she
rough.
couldn't figure out how to pull up our shop name. She couldn't really explain the new Puffco. And she was telling us that now, with the new chamber that can take hot and hurdy dabs, you can connect to it through Bluetooth. Not the device.
What?
The chamber. And same with the old 3D chamber.
That's
Did you
fucking-
know that you can connect to your 3D chamber? Because you can't. But two
you
people
can't.
at the Puffco booth told
That's
us.
fucking hilarious. They were just
Yeah.
saying
I
yes to
think that
everything.
shit
It was
was
a yes,
like the
yes
trade
girls.
show is such a
No, it was,
Nah.
it was there was a girl, and I think she did work for Puffco.
big. But I think
But
she
there's
doesn't
also a guy
work
there.
the floor like that. Like, she's not one of the salespeople.
No,
She's
but-
like
not
the
at
behind
all.
the scenes.
But
and
even
then
the sales guy.
they bring her up from Cali to help out with this thing, but she don't know shit.
Well, I mean, they might even be Vegas showgirls that are just
No,
getting hired.
but it was like there was
Puffco
a guy
didn't
that
like
she
that,
brought
though.
over to talk
okay.
to us, and
Yes, sir.
he was even saying that you can connect to the like it was like they
There's
went
a lot
for
of
this Apple vibe,
misinformation.
but they
Jeez.
didn't know anything about their product. Like,
Yeah.
Apple's, like, you go into an Apple store, it looks the exact same as the Puffco booth.
Yeah.
But when you go into an Apple store, they can do everything for you, and
Yeah.
these people could do
Everybody
nothing.
in there is an expert.
Yeah.
One of the booths that me and Billy went to, I think we talked
Billy
to
and I.
Billy and I. Shut the fuck up. God damn it. Anyway, we talked to at least 3 different people before we actually talked to a person that could help us out. When we talked to the actual person that could help us out, I think we bought, I don't know, a bunch of, like 40 units or something of their product. And just going through that process was easily like 10, 15 minutes of just talking to random people.
It was a fucking sea of shit, right?
Yeah.
And so we were only there for 2 days. One of the things that kind of happened for me is that I just stopped seeing vapes. Like on the second day when I went, like the first day that I went, I was kind of like, well, what's that? What's that? What's that?
Mm-hmm.
Like the second day we were there, it's like I almost knew exactly what the booth was before I walked up. Like who was in charge, if they knew anything, if they were going to give me any information. So it's
Really
almost
easy
like
to
I was
pick
able
out.
to zone in a little faster. I'm sure if I stayed for day 3 or 4, I would have, it would have compensated. Like I would have been able to see even better. Like I would have had the real conversations with all the right mushroom people, or the real conversations with all the make my own label gummy people. But shit, the thing I did like about it was kind of the same, is that there was a lot of everything there. Like no matter what the product,
A lot of gummies, a lot of mushrooms.
no matter what the product, I found it. Yeah.
The
a lot
mushroom,
of, a lot of really shitty product too, though.
the mushroom scene was weird. I didn't understand like any of it. Like legality wise, no idea.
Yeah, that shit was a trip. It seemed like they didn't know much over there either.
I mean, there's people that were telling us that they're a church, and if we get their product, we have to sell it as a gift and all this, and it's an interesting kind of aspect that we have to. Yeah, loophole that we'd have to bring to our shop if we wanted their product.
Well, and even further than that, though, like there were a couple booths I went to, and I was like, okay, like tell me about the product, and like in terms of the mushrooms, and the guy was like, I don't have much to tell you, but you'll feel really good if you take it. This girl over at this booth, she took it, and she was talking so much, and I was like, cool. Like, is it speed? Like, what's in the gummy? Like you said, it was mushrooms. You don't know what mushrooms it is, but you're telling me it's a lot of fun and to only take 4.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
I had an interesting time when I took one of the samples. It was like
Billy
a
did
little
too.
bit too intense for me, to be honest. Like, and why it's too intense is because sometimes I felt normal, and then all of a sudden I couldn't even see what was going on around me. Like the light, like everything was just like moving too much. And I think that experience was a lot for one gummy.
It's
when
weird.
they have 2 sample gummies.
It's weird that they can just give out samples.
Yo, it's
Just
weird,
like,
the
here
whole
you
fact
go,
of
here's
that.
some shit. Fucking.
And then the champs
sample
people
that.
were stopping us from smoking.
Well, you're not supposed to, like, in there, you're really not supposed to smoke or vape, I don't think. But with Puffcos and stuff, they don't really care. But once you light a joint, like, and this also happened at Glass Vegas, was like, they had people, like, glass blowers on microphones saying, please stop smoking weed.
Oh, shit.
And, like, everyone was like, there were some people laughing about it, but a lot of people were kind of serious about it.
Yeah.
Quen, what was your favorite? Like, if you had to, like a non-glass aspect of the show, what would you say was your favorite thing?
I think just experiencing the totality of the scene. There were a lot of aspects of the industry that I forgot about. When you go into a lot of shops are cookie cutter. And that's one of the things that I love about the Glassmith is like you look at it and it's this anomaly, this unique location, setting, everything where you can watch live glass blowing and, you know, get your handful of smoke shop products and the adult novelty stuff and like the whole mushroom scene, like very, very interesting. And then to see every vape company out there like trying to slap somebody's face, a celebrity's face on their brand, and like having Mike Tyson walk through, Hulk Hogan going through there, Dennis Rodman, like all these characters. It was
Lil Baby.
It was definitely like a Vegas experience for me. None of it felt real. It felt like a wild hallucinogenic circus in a way. But I loved it.
Did you see Dennis Rodman had a vape himself? I didn't know that either.
I didn't know that.
So
I just
shit
saw
was
him.
crazy.
I don't know rappers very well, but like I think there were like 2 or 3 rappers. Like
Yeah,
Trippie
Lil
Red,
Baby,
someone else.
Triple
Yeah,
Red.
they had the
there's
vapes there,
another
and then they
one.
were up there.
I don't remember the third one.
That was really weird. But then like the fact that all these people, like I don't think any of these people have vapes. I think people like hit them up and they were like, "You guys want to have your face on a vape?
All right.
We'll pay you to come out."
Okay.
Like that's my assumption, because like is Mike Tyson really sitting there and he's like hitting this punching bag on way too many mushrooms? And he's like, oh my god, the vape industry's blowing up. I gotta get into this.
It's like a licensed product with a weird contract. I think they're probably all putting themselves in legal trouble later, where they're trying to make their $1 billion right now.
Yeah.
It would seem to me.
Well,
so
all of it's like white labeled as fuck. Like
yeah, just
everything
like
there, like you
advice
go to like
comes from
6
China.
different booths for gummies, and they all had the same gummy in a different package. And a lot of them didn't even really know it was in their gummy. Like it was Delta, like I saw Delta 9 THCA gummy, and THCA doesn't get you high. But they were telling me how great it is that it has THCA in it. And it's like, okay.
like just brand, like there's buzzword
It's
selling.
marketing stuff.
It's
It's
all
all
the same
verbal
as the
diarrhea.
mushrooms.
Yeah.
It was verbal diarrhea for sure. That's why everything was.
It
kinda
is
like cut
too
out
bad
for me.
that much
I don't
of the
even
industry
remember
is
that
like
kind of
that.
stuff because it cuts out in my brain.
It would almost be nice, like if Champs had a premium section. Like I understand that why they don't. Like right, like you can't like tell like these bullshit brands that they're not premium. Like they want to pay the money, they're getting the spot. Like I bet next year it'll be bigger than fucking this year.
What would you have in the premium section?
Well, like I would want like Puffco, like Terpometer. I would invite brands like Illadelph, like just like Sov.
like PAX,
Well, I'm just saying
Dizzy.
prominent,
The higher end of the classic smoke
national
shops.
brands
Like
like Whip It, Stizzy. You know what I mean? Like they'd all like anybody who had a thing, like even Elf Bar, like give Elf Bar official its own fucking like its own home with other official ass products.
Raw, like HBI should have had like they should have been in a section different than all these shitty gummies. Like
Yeah.
HBI
So?
is like
Mixed into the sea of it.
They were definitely mixed into the sea of it. I wish that they were like maybe in the front, like very.
So they
front.
could get their own. They could
You know
get
what
their
I mean?
own shit. So it's like they're not like, and it's almost like that's how Vegas is. Like a couple good restaurants mixed in here and there, but overall you're fucking just wading through a sea of shit trying to figure out the little tiny bit of shit that's good. So speaking of Vegas, what y'all did y'all have a good time? Like, what'd you think of the city overall? What were some highlights?
I think that Vegas is a city that you should only ever go to if you really like gambling or you have a trade show. Like if you're just going there like I'm about to have a really fun time. I'm going to Vegas. And you don't like gambling, you don't like getting really fucked up, you're not gonna have a good time. Everything's like $6 for a water bottle and like $14 for a beer. Like who's going there for fun? Like it's a business meeting place for business people that like to get fucked up.
I think the problem is where we stayed, and it's I guess one of the unfortunate parts about it is like how kind of like it's an obviously classist place, like where there's just tier after tier of where you can
We were
go.
in a sea of shit.
And
Vegas.
so well like
Growing up
we're, the
Disneyland.
part of Vegas that we stayed
Yeah, it
in,
reminded
that's
you a
the
lot of
fucking
it.
pricey
Yeah.
part.
It was like
It was interesting. I've never
adult
been there.
Disney in a weird kind of way, and like having worked at Disney in the past, it was a really
That was a wild
trippy
experience.
Getting on a monorail, going past this big ass ball, and being like,
Oh.
"What the fuck? Like, where am I?" And then getting to the show and having all these colors and smells and like everything pumped out. It's just like, fuck, this is Disney. But for people that don't want to go and see animation, that just want to like consume these products and like look at each other, and like the whole
Like that.
you know, girls walking around in their bikinis like had no information on the companies, but like it definitely got people stopping by and like talking and stuff.
I think that Vegas fucking LA strategy kind of works a little bit.
Yeah, and to realize how many people were local, like within the show, was crazy too. Like it did feel like this contained kind of bubble, like Vegas as a whole. And being somebody that doesn't drink or gamble, really, it was a funny experience. To, like just kind of sit back and witness how much alcohol is consumed out there, and like
That's how they get their money.
yeah, I think the only
They
purpose
make the money from gambling. They get you to loosen up
Yeah.
to the drinking.
yeah, I think my only purpose going back out there would be for trade show or something.
Yeah, it's almost unfortunate they can't do it somewhere cool, like Boulder or some shit. You know what I mean? Like bring everybody to the cool ass
Old Deer
space
be
rather
so
than
nice.
just like
Go
rather than this
outside
fucking
and just see
bullshit.
the mountains.
What about you, Nate? How was Vegas?
I mean, it was amazing. It was an experience that I met people that I've always wanted to meet. Didn't expect them to meet there. And, I mean, it was just absolutely wonderful. And also, we were in kind of like a place where there was a lot going on.
Yeah, you know the reason I picked that spot is is because of the monorail right there, and it's the fucking center of the strip.
It's just easy to get there and back. Go to your room.
Yeah, it was cool. It's unfortunate to have to get that fucking late flight out, fucking early flight back, but in a way, it like condensed it into an experience, like
It
more
did.
even than like more than a trip. It was just like I was fucked up like on one thing or another the whole time. Like the first night I got there, I ended up throwing up. Second day I was fucking too faded out to do much. Fucking third day. Oh, I don't think there was a third day. That's how I can't even remember the fucking shit that happened.
I think that the ball, like I saw it on social media, like probably a week or two before we went, but that giant ass ball,
Huge.
fucking crazy. Like
Yeah.
it was a basketball, but then they had all sorts of other stuff. It was
I got
the
some
moon
moon
point.
pictures.
Yeah.
I got
And
some
it
moon
was-
pictures that I was like, wow, this thing is so crazy.
The
Like,
eyeball.
actually look at it.
Yeah.
That was trippy.
It was, yeah.
You saw
it
the
was-
eyeball?
It
I don't
was
remember the
probably
eyeball.
one of the like, not cooler things I saw on the trip, but like going into like hearing about the ball, I was like, oh, it's not gonna be that cool, and it was
Oh, it was
so
crazy.
cool. Like
Pretty
this,
wild.
like the size of it.
I had so
but
many
then
questions
also,
about it, like looking at the underside of it and like all this like construction that's still going around it and stuff.
Yeah, I guess
what's
it's gonna
going
be
on there?
be an 18,000 person arena, so I would imagine
Oh,
most of that shit on the outside is either like
No
a hotel
shit.
to be around it,
Oh,
or
okay.
like I guess that's probably how Vegas rolls now. They're probably gonna dig
That
under
makes
it to make
sense.
their parking. And
That thing
then
is
build a
crazy.
fucking hotel casino above it. I would imagine.
That's crazy.
Well, because like you could see like during the day when you were driving by, you could see through the ball. Like you could see like it's
Metal
LEDs.
framework
Yeah.
and everything.
It's like it's like LEDs.
All
but
these
they're not
millions of
panels
lights.
there. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like millions of strip lights or something like that. I don't know.
Let's just go to Walmart, get some strip lights.
Dude, let's make our own ball.
What are we doing with this wall?
What's
Eyeball
the
wall?
plan with the wall?
Oh, just to get some LEDs all over it and get
Yeah,
the fucking
blast a big old eyeball or the moon, whatever we want up there.
Any y'all got any other thoughts about this trade show or
Next time, I think we should come a little bit more correct
yeah?
and try harder.
Hell
And
yeah.
like,
Whereas
as
this time we
in,
came wrong.
like,
Yeah, hater.
come out, try to like, at least compete.
Mm.
Because like now I understand. Because I've
Yeah.
never been to a show, and I've always wanted to go. I can see all the work, but I've never seen it at like a personal level. So
See what
This
goes
time-
into it, how
yeah,
much
this
prep
time
we
it's
can
gonna
do.
be-
Like what we
yeah.
could do as a fucking unit. You know what I mean?
And-
That's kind of how that's what I'd
and
like
push
to look
those
at. It's like,
push those limits on like the glass, like what they want you to bring. Because I was trying to like keep in line with what they wanted for the rules, and I think that we can like maybe push those limits a little bit. Because
Yeah.
it seemed like that's what people were doing.
well, you could probably also stack like 4 motherfuckers next to each other. You know what I mean? Like you would do like, yeah.
Oh,
I
wow,
think
that'd
we
be
could,
crazy.
You know what I mean? Like we can
If we
probably,
get early in.
You probably like I think there's just probably space. You know what I mean? That's
They
how
were
it
hurting
seems.
for people. They were. I mean, the only reason
I mean,
that
they
we
wanted
jumped on
me
the
to do
20-minute
more.
competition was because they needed more people
Yeah.
out there blowing glass. They wanted to draw more attraction to the
They
American
need them
glass
fucking
scene.
all them torches fucking rolling.
Yeah.
I'm excited about us doing a 20-minute challenge for the Glassmith.
Oh hell yeah!
Yeah, that's
when is that
probably-
gonna happen?
I think Friday. And
Friday.
I think that's probably one of the biggest takeaways from it. Was like I didn't even consider I watch those kinds of videos, but not glassblowing. No
So
one
who's
does
gonna
glassblowing.
create the rules behind this?
Dog? Our producer. Awesome.
No.
No, we'll get this shit done. We'll probably
Well,
go
at least
glass
like have
blowers
like
on it.
a standard.
There's probably
We'll figure it
4
out.
to 5 people
Okay.
initially who are gonna want to enter. So we'll speak about all these rules to make sure that we kind of like what's going on after the show. We're gonna be mad whoever loses. I'm like if I'm in
You
it.
should have like a
If I'm in it, I'm gonna hate.
Someone's
I'm
getting
gonna be
yelled
like,
at.
why the
little,
fuck?
like-
Then I'm gonna be like, who was judging this shit? And be like, judged by them. They're like, I've been in competitions before,
bullshit.
little tiny ass competitions. You know, Upgrade's one of these best glass blowers I know. And every competition I've been in is these one little bullshit ones in New Mexico that my homie's throwing. Oh, sorry, homie. But
Whenever-
but there's not that many competitors. He's obviously the best glass blower there, but he can't win because we would like invite local judges or like somebody from the university or even glass blowers. Like, you know what I mean? Like glass blowers pick all their shit different. So it's like no matter who the judges are, everybody who doesn't win is like the fuck. That's how I feel.
Well,
anyway.
and like so, like the other things that like with the event, the like takeaways from it is also like all of these people are so willing to talk. Like all of these glass blowers not only want to explain their process, but like they want to show you their piece. They want to be like showing you how the light reflects through it and stuff.
Yeah.
And like all of them, I bet want to be on this. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
we
Like,
could open up a whole table that's just overall a podcast. We
Yeah.
just keep that shit rolling
Rolling
the whole
all the
time.
time.
Send them their shit, cut it in little fucking slots. That should be the heater. That's a good idea.
What can I say? I know a little bit of everything.
Fucking A.
No. That
Well,
is a
shit.
Great idea.
Thank you guys so much for joining us on another episode of the Glassmith Pod. Please, please, please don't forget to like and subscribe. Not only here on the fucking YouTube, but also on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, anywhere the kids go. We're all about it. Please hit us up. Thank you very much.
And if you're in Austin, make sure you check out our bud bars. We do them 3 days a week between our shops. All the classic flour, and it's the best flour you can get. It's everything that we have on the table right now.
Hell yeah. Thanks a lot. Peace out, guys.